Hi there! This is another in the 12 Days of Painting series that I'm doing. Today we're going to do a very simple little acrylic painting with just 3 colors, so let's get started. First things first, let's put out our colors: quinacridone magenta, phthalo blue, and benzimidazzolone yellow or Hansa yellow. The information is all in the description about the colors that we're using. So I've got a little phthalo blue there, some Hansa yellow, if it'll come out of the bottle. Little Hansa yellow, or actually that's benzimidazzolone yellow. Some quin magenta, quin magenta. And we're going to have titanium white as well. Titanium white there, and let's get that over there so you can see it, and some glazing liquid. I always use glazing liquid because it helps things stay wet while we're working. So there's some glazing liquid. All of that is in your description. Okay, I am going to start with, put my paper towels here. I'm going to put my brush in the water, but then I'm going to wipe it off. And I'm also going to do something today. I'm going to use a paint pen. This is a Posca acrylic paint pen, and I'm going to just draw in my composition. So for this, I'm going to have a road going through the hills. So I want to draw my hill back here, another hill here. My road is going to come around like this and be narrower, and then as it comes down here it gets wider. Let's have another hill here and maybe here, and let's make sure that that goes really narrow back there. We want it to really disappear. So that is going to be my composition, and we'll have some flowers and things and whatnot in the front, but that's going to be our composition. Pretty simple. Okay, let's start with our sky. We're going to have a really warm sky. So I'm going to start with Hansa yellow, a little bit of glazing liquid just to keep things juicy, a little bit of titanium white, more yellow. I want a really rosy sky, so I'm really laying on the Hansa yellow first. Titanium white, lots of titanium white, come way down, come all the way down over those mountains, because you don't want to end right at the mountain. That will look like it's made out of cardboard. So I'm just going to lay that in, wipe my brush, grab a little quin magenta, come back up here. Went a little heavy on the quin magenta, so just wipe my brush, titanium white. See, it just makes my sky kind of rosy. But that Hansa yellow that I put down first really allows that quin magenta and titanium white to just blend in there. So let's have a little bit more of that Hansa yellow. Gets us a nice glowing sky. Now I'm going to lay in my road first, and to do that I'm going over to a number 6, and I'm going to put my road kind of a purpley red, kind of a red, dusty red road. So I'm going to first start with my quin magenta. I'm just going to, let's make sure we got some, little glazing liquid. Let's just lay that in like so. The road goes in first because the land goes over the road, not the other way around. A little glazing liquid there. And I want it to look like an old dusty red road. So to mute this red down, I'm going to need a green. So let's make a little green. Let's get this finished up here. Let's make a little green, and I'm not even washing my brush. So little Quin Magenta, lots of Hansa Yellow. That's a good green right there. Now I'm going to wipe most of it off my brush. And let's just pull it right into that road. See how it turns it brown right away? That's because we're using a complementary color. Red and green are across the color wheel from one another. Let's get a little of the titanium white. And that road is still a little bit too pink. We want it browner. That means it needs more green. There we go. Don't worry about going outside the lines either that you drew, because we're going to put the land down on top of this road. So get that dark brown going first. Not too red. Now come back with a little titanium white. Now, there we go. See, we've got that kind of nice muddy brown that you would expect a road to be. You don't really expect a pink road. So, not unless you're watching The Wizard of Oz. Oh no, that's a yellow road. But we've got a nice kind of brown road going here. That's perfect. Good. That's about what we want. Okay, wipe my brush. And I'm going to be using a number 6 brush for most of this. I'm going to wash my brush and then wipe it off. There's no water on my brush. So now I'm going to make these hills back here, and I kind of want them to be a browny red. So let's go into our Quin Magenta. We've got some green right here. Let's get that a lot browner. So it's still a little bit too pink. So I'm going to grab a little of my Hansa Yellow, and now I've got a yummy brown, a really pretty brown. Let's lay that down. I'm coming right over that road, and I'm just going to roll my brush. Let's go to the other side, do the same thing, roll my brush. Make a real nice, juicy line there. Yeah, that looks good. Let's add a little bit of white to that. We don't want it too dark to begin with. But see that beautiful brown we made just by mixing those 3 colors we've got. You don't have to have a ton of colors in your paint box. I've just got a really pretty, almost a burnt umber here going here. Yeah, that's working out really well. Okay, let's come over here. We're going to take that titanium white on top of that pretty brown that we made. Now I'm going to turn my canvas sideways because I really want my paint strokes to go along the ridge like of the hill is what I'm trying to say. So I want my paint strokes to do that. In order to do that, I'm just going to turn my canvas sideways. Let's have a little more of that brown here. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's smooth out that. Now I'm looking at the road and the hills. Let's just give this a little bit of some help there. I'm looking at the road and the hills, and the road does not have enough contrast with the hills. So before I go any further, I'm going to go into my yellow and grab a little bit of that brown, and I'm going to make something very much like a yellow ochre. And I'm going to come back over my road. I'm going to shift it from that kind of purpley brown to more of a yellow brown. It's going to be a little muddy for a minute, but that's okay. I just need the contrast. Now I'm going to go into my titanium white and come back on top of my road And that should give me a little more contrast. I think we'll need a little bit more yellow too. I guess it is the Wizard of Oz. It is the yellow brick road after all. How about that? Okay, so that gives us a little bit of contrast back there. You don't want that road to be too noticeable back here at the back, because you do want it to look like it's receding in the distance. So don't make it too bright back there. Now when it comes to these hills right here, we're going to shift gears. These are going to be a little more green. So we're going to go into our Hansa yellow and bring it over here to this brown, because we don't want it to be super bright, but we do want to shift the color. So tiny bit of phthalo. Oh, look at that green. That's gorgeous. That's a really pretty green. So let's just lay that in. It's a nice muted green. It's really pretty. We'll just lay that in right there. Might have to make some more. Let's add a little yellow. As we're coming forward here, let's get a little brighter. And just let those colors blend right on the canvas. And finally, let's go a little bit brighter still with a little titanium white. And just bring those brush strokes right down over the road, because you definitely want that road to lay down under the landforms. It would look pretty funny if that road was above the landforms. Just want to bring these down a little bit like that. Okay, so we got some really nice landforms going there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and I'm going to again turn my canvas so that I can come down over the landforms and just let that color flow right out of your brush onto the canvas. Let's have a little more yellow. And let's go a little bit brighter here. So I think we need that contrast there. Let's see if we actually need even more contrast. Let's see when I turn it back around. It's looking pretty good, although it does seem a little bit dark, like it could use some more contrast. So what I'm going to do is just grab a little titanium white with my dirty brush, and I'm just going to come right back into these painted areas. It's still wet, and look how pretty that blends. It just blends right into the wet paint, and that gives us just a little bit more contrast there in the foreground. Let's do that on this side too. Turning my canvas so I can do really nice paint strokes. Just let that paint ride right into the wet paint and just get these pretty, pretty paint strokes. And really nice. Let's go a little bit darker here. Oops, it's a little bit too dark. I went a little crazy there with the phthalo. You have to watch the phthalo. Phthalo blue is very strong. So let's mute that down. I get a little red, put it in there. Tiny bit of my Quin Magenta, mute that down. It's going to go a little purple, a little tiny bit more. There we go. Get a little bit of the yellow and put it in there. Now we get to that muddy green that we had. Let's see how it looks. Oh, that works really well. I actually really like that. Okay, nice muddy green there. Beautiful. Okay, loving it. Okay, there we go. Now we've got our road and our hills in the back. It looks like I did not overlap my hills back there. So let's recreate that muddy brown that I had. I think I've got some green here. I may have to repaint those guys in the back because I didn't overlap them enough with the road. So let's see, this is going to be a very different color, but the contrast may be even better. So this is that Quin Magenta with that kind of dirty brown that I had made earlier. A little bit of glazing liquid. My paint was getting just a little bit dry. There we go. That's a little better. A little better. You really want that road to feel like it's under. Otherwise, it doesn't quite read as a road. Okay, now finally, let's fix up the other side over there. And I'm actually really preferring this color. It's a little bit richer, not quite such a brown. Okay, just making that road disappear back there. Fine, now that looks good. Now we need a little focal point in the foreground. So what we're going to do in the foreground is some foliage, and if you watched me do the ocean painting, the seascape, you'll know that I'm going to do foliage kind of the same way. So here we go. Dirty brush, of course. I do love a dirty brush. And we want a nice kind of muted green color. So let's grab our yellow, put it over here in this kind of muddy mixture that I've got going here. There's a little tiny bit of phthalo. Be careful with the phthalo. It's so overpowering. Now we're going to need this to be a little darker in the foreground, so that it'll stand up against these dark hills. So let's see if that's dark enough. Now here's how I like to do foliage. I like to start at the bottom rather, and hold my brush upside down and pull up. So by that I mean, here I'm gonna start at the bottom of the canvas and pull up. So let's go here. And that may not be dark enough. Let's put a little more phthalo blue in that. We don't want it to be a turquoise blue because that doesn't work well in this environment. So it's a little bit too blue. Let's grab a little a little Quin Magenta. We're really looking for like a dark green. Let's see if that works. Start here, pull up. That's better. That's better. Yeah. Okay, let's have a few of those. Let's put a few of those in. Just want something in the foreground because we just have this wide open composition with really no focal point per se. Okay, let's go a little bit darker. Now it's like almost a purple blue. Let's put a little bit more yellow in that. A little bit more red. There we go. Okay, we'll come over here, we'll do a couple more. And I don't know what these are. I'm a painter, I'm not a botanist. So there's some kind of plant. I want to say they're kind of like a sage or a pinon or something like that, right? Who knows? You can make them anything you want. Just make something in the foreground there. That'll give you a little focal point. Now I'm going to go a little bit lighter. Nice gray green. This is just exactly the color of the sage in the New Mexico desert. This green right here, it's so pretty. But it doesn't have a lot of contrast. So just use it sparingly. Put a little over here. There we go. Okay, that is our road through the desert, and that is our 20-minute painting. These are the kind of paintings you can do from the 12 days of painting that I have been doing lately, and they make wonderful, wonderful gifts for family and friends. I see a big dot right there that needs to be addressed, and of course I don't have the right color, so let's just make it green. All right, that's it for this particular painting. As you know, I'm doing the 12 days of painting, so join me in the next video. And remember what I always say, keep painting. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.